Hey everybody, thank you very much for taking the time to attend today's workshop. I'm Shruti Ramanujam and I'm from the Exchange Reporter Plus team of Manage Engine. Today's workshop will focus on how Exchange Reporter Plus can be used to monitor your organization's Exchange environment. Over the course of this workshop, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them because we have our support team right here waiting for you. So if you ask any questions, we will answer them immediately. You can ask your questions through the chat box that you see on your screen, and there's a very high chance that we will reply. And if in the off chance that we are not able to reply, we will get back to you after the session with the solution through an email. So we will just shoot out an email to you just in case we're not able to reply. But however, do interact with us. You have the chance to interact with professionals from Manage Engine. So you can put the chat box that you see on your screen to good use. So far in this workshop series, in the previous two workshops, we have seen how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus to report on mailbox size, mailbox storage, not just mailbox storage, just like storage components such as mailbox databases, public folder databases, and so on. We've seen how you can report on mailbox account status, such as discovering inactive mailboxes or disconnected mailboxes and so on. We also saw how you can audit Exchange mailbox logons, how you can track changes to permissions such as your send as or full access permission, or changes to properties such as mailboxes that are suddenly activated, deactivated, or moved in your organization, databases that are mounted or dismounted, and so on. So if you missed any of the previous workshops, you don't have to worry because today's workshop is not going to call back to anything that we discussed in the previous two workshops. Also, the previous workshops are also available on YouTube and through the registration link that you would have seen before when you registered for this workshop. So the recorded videos were all of a different workshop series, but the topics are almost the same, so you can take a look at them. And a recording of today's workshop will also be available on YouTube in a short while. So we'll keep you posted about that. And as I mentioned earlier, and as you can see on the screen, today's workshop is fully about the monitoring functionality of Exchange Reporter Plus. Day after day, your Exchange environment undergoes constant modification, and keeping track of all these changes is a huge workload for system admins. And wouldn't it be great if we could have a software that just does all our work for us, something that could track and monitor all Exchange activities for you? Well, you guessed it, we have Exchange Reporter Plus which can help you out with the same. Because with this product, you can get a complete picture of all Exchange activities for all servers. So this counts server 2016 too. So monitoring across the three main components, that is your Exchange server, database availability groups or DAGs, and the Exchange databases, monitoring all these three components can be covered using Exchange Reporter Plus. And all you need to do is just wait for the reports to be loaded, as in the reports are going to get populated with data and you just can look at them instead of wasting a lot of time trying to find out information about client connectivity status such as active sync connectivity, or trying to find out if database backups have happened or so on. So instead of spending time on this, you could spend that time doing more valuable tasks instead. So that's where Exchange Reporter Plus is going to help you out. So let's take a quick look at the agenda for today so that we know what you can expect from the next half an hour or so of this session. So this is the agenda for today. As you can see on the screen, there are 5 tasks that we are going to perform today, and each task has one or more subtasks under it. So the very first task that we will be performing today is monitoring the health of Exchange services and client connectivity. So as you can see, this is 2 separate tasks where we monitor the health of services and also check client connectivity health for your client access servers. So we will be checking web services connectivity and connectivity to protocols such as POP3 and IMAP4 and active sync connectivity, OWA connectivity, and so on. We will also be seeing how you can monitor email queues and email flow using Exchange Reporter Plus. And another topic which we also saw during one of our previous workshops, monitoring storage components. So that can also be done using Exchange Reporter Plus using the monitoring tab so that you can keep an eye on server volume, drive volume, and so on. So we will be looking at that today. We will be seeing how you can list information about your database availability groups or DAGs and your database backups. And finally, the very last thing for today's workshop is performance monitoring, where we will be monitoring metrics such as CPU utilization and memory utilization for your Exchange servers. So these are the tasks that we will be performing in the next half an hour or so. And before we start performing these tasks, let me show you the product. So I've switched tabs to the product, and over the course of this workshop, I will be using a lab setup and the URL which you would have received over chat right now. It's this admp.cloudapp.net : the port number which is 8181. And you've received the link over chat so that you get some hands-on experience. You can actually log into the product. You can play around with the different features that we have available so that you get some hands-on experience about what exactly Exchange Reporter Plus can offer you. So when I go through the tasks for today, I will be quickly listing out where you have to go to find the report, and I will be explaining some use cases. So, use cases as in what our customers have told us before about why exactly they liked this particular feature of Exchange Reporter Plus. So what problems they had before using Exchange Reporter Plus and how you can solve problems such as these using Exchange Reporter Plus. So these are all that we will be discussing today. And for all of this, we can start off by using this lab setup, which is hosted on Azure. The credentials to log in will be auto-filled, and it's admin as both the username and the password. So that has also been sent to you over chat. And I log in, and if you want some hands-on experience, you can log in along with me too, and I'll give you just a minute so that if you are logging in, you have time to do so. Right, so I hope you've logged in if you're planning on playing around with the features as I speak. So as we discussed in the previous workshops, there are three main tabs in Exchange Reporter Plus. I'm repeating this for the sake of attendees who were not present during the previous workshops. So it's not really a problem. We have three main tabs: reporting, auditing, and monitoring. And in the first workshop, we saw a few reports available under the reporting tab. In the second workshop, we saw a few auditing reports where we audited mailbox permission changes, property changes, database changes, and so on. And finally, there's the monitoring tab, which is what we are going to look at today. All 5 tasks that we are going to perform today are exclusively present under the monitoring tab, and that's exactly what we are going to look at right now. So we are going to use the monitoring tab in order to see how you can monitor every Exchange component within your Exchange organization. So this is the monitoring tab, and as you can see, once you log in, once you click on the monitoring tab, you are presented with the dashboard. So it's loading right now, but what this dashboard is going to show us is a number of graphics. It's going to show us several bar graphs, pie charts, and useful information that is easy on your eyes. So you just need to take a quick look at the dashboard in order to find out the status of services in your organization. And if you take a look at the left pane, these are all the dashboards that we have available. The dashboard view can be found for organization, for DAGs, for servers, databases, email queue, and a dashboard which is based on your Exchange objects, such as your databases, servers, and so on. Like, it's specific to each component of your Exchange database. So these are all the dashboards that we have available. And let's first look at the dashboard for organization. So using this dashboard, you get information about several monitoring parameters. So if you look at the top of the screen, you have a number of alerts present. So you just need to come here and see how many alerts have been generated. And if you click on view, you're going to get detailed information about the alerts. And then we have one part of the dashboard dedicated to the health of the organization. So you can view information such as the status of services and client connectivity status, the mail flow status, and so on. And you have organization summary at the bottom. You have bar graphs on the critical servers, and how we judge that they're critical is based on the alerts count. So it lists out the server name and the alert count, and this serves as an easy to understand bar graph. So this is just a lab setup, so there's only one server listed here, but I'm sure you understand how this would help you out in a real organization, right? And top critical databases can also be discovered from the dashboard and so on. So this is just a quick introduction about the monitoring tab. So let me quickly move on to the next dashboard that we have available, which is on database availability groups. So relevant monitoring data about database availability groups, that is about your DAGs, can be found under this dashboard. So if you want information about your copy queues, your replay queues, if you want information about replication health, or so on, you just need to click on the DAG dashboard and it's going to give you information about it. So this is all graphics. They're all going to be in graphical format and you are going to easily understand exactly what's going on. Now if you look at the very first table here, it's about replication health. It tells you the running state of services. So if it's green, it means the service state is healthy, and if it's red, it means the running state is actually an error. The service is not running. So, and usually there'd be a yellow color here which says warning. So that's middle ground between healthy and error, and so on. And then you have the server's dashboard, and you can use this dashboard in order to get server related monitoring data. And so if you want information about mail flow latency, POP latency, or so on, you just need to come to this dashboard. Since these contain graphics, they're just taking a second longer than they usually do. So you can see the running state of services. And as I mentioned just a few seconds back, you can view information about mail flow latency, POP latency, and so on using this dashboard. And then there's one on databases, which gives you information about database backup. I'm just going to quickly run through the remaining three. And then there's email queue, which lets you monitor your email queues, obviously. And yeah, and then there's the Exchange object-based dashboard, which shows you the dynamism of latency over each day. So if you want a quick look into the status of your email queues, you'd use the email queue dashboard. Or let's say there's one right here. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the tasks that we will be performing today is performance monitoring in order to monitor the utilization of CPU and server memory. But we also have a dashboard which helps in easy understanding of CPU and memory utilization. And for this, you just need to click on the CPU/memory usage dashboard. So right here, you're going to get pie charts which compare your CPU utilization. It shows you the number of processes, the number of threads, the number of handles, and the pie chart compares the used space and the available space. So you should always be rooting for it to be green. If it's red, like how it is under memory utilization, it obviously spells trouble. You don't want your technical support to be flooded with calls about slow logons and their mailboxes being too slow and sluggish and so on. So avoiding sluggish logon. So in order to avoid issues like this, you can just keep an eye on this dashboard. And the minute it turns red, you can find out how exactly you want to troubleshoot. And the recent alerts are also displayed here in tabular format at the bottom of the screen. So yeah, we've spent sufficient time discussing all the different kinds of dashboards that we have available. Without further ado, let's move on to the first task of the day of this particular session. So the very first task for today is this. We are going to monitor the health of Exchange services, and we are also going to monitor client connectivity. So as you can see, there are two subtasks that we are going to perform for the very first topic in today's agenda. So if you take the very first task, I'll mention use cases for both so that you understand why exactly you would need this in your organization, and you also find out how you can use this in your organization. So the first half of the first task is this. You want to monitor Exchange services. Why? Because it is necessary to check that all services required by Exchange on a server have started. The status of these services should be monitored so that any unforeseen problems do not arise. And all services based on server roles that are installed are checked by Exchange Reporter Plus. So what Exchange Reporter Plus does is this. It's going to go to the servers, based on the server role that is installed, it is going to check the services, and all detailed information is listed out in an easy to understand format in the form of a report. And this report is called the Service Health Report. So that's one use case. That's the first half of this task. And the second half is about client connectivity. So we know that the client access server role is an important component of Exchange servers. And this role is vital for connectivity to mailbox servers, obviously. So Exchange Reporter Plus monitors connectivity easily using the reports available under this category called Server Monitoring Reports. So there are two things that I'm going to do once I switch to the product screen. I'm going to show you how you can monitor client connectivity status and how you can monitor your services health. So the first thing that we will be looking at is service health. So if you look at the left pane, there's a category called Server Monitoring Reports, and the very first report that's available under it, that's the report we're looking for. Let's click on it. So the name of the report is the Service Health Report, and this is what Exchange Reporter Plus does. It checks all the services and it shows me in the report whether the required services are running or not running. So this is that report. It shows me the name of the server. It shows me the server role that is present in this server. It tells me whether the required services are running or whether they're not running. So if you look at these two columns, let me highlight it for you. So if the required services are running, it says true here. So obviously, since all the required services are running, under services not running, there's a dash that's displayed, a hyphen, which says that there are no services that are not running. So that's how this works, and it shows me the time at which it checked the service health. So this is how you would monitor service health using Exchange Reporter Plus. Now I know what you're thinking. You're saying, okay Shruti, so I can check if the required services are running using this report. But do I have to log into the product? Do I have to come all the way to this report, click on service health in order to view this information? That's the question on all of your minds. I know that. And here's my answer to it. That's not all that Exchange Reporter Plus does. There's another option available called the alerts configuration. So let me just click on it and then I'll explain how it works out. So, if you just have the report, first thing every morning you'd have to go check the report to ensure that no problems have taken place. And if problems did occur, you can fix them quickly before end users start to notice. So that's where the alerts configuration comes in. You can set an alert so that in real time, as soon as a required service stops running, you get a notification that tells you, hey, listen, the required services are not running for this particular server with this server role. So that's the alert that you want right now. And in order to do that, you can click on New Alert Profile, so that you can set up the alert, configure it, so that each time a required service stops running, you get an alert. So name of the alert, let's call it the Service Health Alert. Oops. So that's the name of the alert. And I'm also going to copy paste the name into the description just for now, because this is just for demonstration purposes. The next option is this, select reports. And you have a plus button right next to it, and I'm clicking on it because once I click on it, it allows me to select the report for which I want the alert to be configured. So there's a drop-down menu at the top of this pop-up window called category, and the category that we're looking for is called server monitoring. And underneath it, the very first report called server service health reports is what we need to select. So I've clicked on it, I've clicked on service health, and I'm clicking OK. So I've done that. And then the next option is a drop-down menu to select the severity of the alert, whether the alert is critical, whether it spells trouble, or whether it requires attention. So I'm going to call it critical because it's going to affect my end users if suddenly some of my required services stop running. It would obviously be a problem. So this is obviously a critical issue. So I want the alert to be critical too. You can then enter in the message which the alert would be accompanied by. So you get to decide the alert message right here by clicking on the message option. So right here, you can use these things called the macros in order to input values in here. So I want the alert message to say the following. So I want it to tell me the name of the server. I want it to tell me the server role that this server has. And I want it to tell me which services are not running. So in order to do that, this is the message that I type in the server, and I want the name of the server to be inputted here, for which I will select the macro called server. So in the server with the role, and I want the server role to be present here, so I'm going to select server role. So in the server, the name of the server with this particular server role, the following services are not running. Put a colon, and I want it to list out the services that are not running. So list of services not running. So that's how this would work. So once this alert has been configured, this message will tell me the name of the server, it'll tell me the server role, and it'll also tell me which services are not running, right? And then advanced settings. You can also set up advanced settings in order to mention which server or server role or so on that you want this alert to be configured for. So under this drop-down menu, you can see all the options available. You can set up the alert based on the server role, based on the services running, whether the services are running. You can set up the alert based on the services that are not running, the name of the server, and based on the list of running services. So I want this based on a server. So let me select server, and here I just select the name of the server. As I mentioned earlier, this is just a lab setup, so we have only one server available, and I'm going to select just that. So I'm going to configure an alert which checks this server, and each time a service stops running in this particular server, it tells me the name of the server, it tells me what server roles this server has, and it lists out all the services that are not running. So this alert will be generated inside the product. But no, I also want an email notification when a particular service stops running in the servers of my organization, in which case I should just select the email notification checkbox. I need to enter in my email address here, enter in a subject for the message, and that's it. You will receive an email message immediately when a particular service stops running. So let me uncheck that and click create. So that's it. It was as simple as that. I just set up an alert, and the next time a service stops running, I am going to be notified immediately. I don't have to worry about problems being caused for the end users. The minute this happens, I'm going to receive an email notification. I can go back, fix the issues immediately before my end users start to notice. So none of my end users will have problems because I'm getting immediate email notifications, and I can check that all the critical services required are running smoothly. Now, if you remember, there's another part to this task. We are also going to monitor client connectivity. And why would we do that? I already mentioned it earlier. The client access server role is important. It's vital for connectivity to mailbox servers. And Exchange Reporter Plus is going to help you do that. And for this, you need to go to the Server Monitoring Reports category. Let's click on it. And as you can see, there are a number of reports available here. So if you take the Active Sync Connectivity report, let me click on it before I start explaining it. So the Active Sync Connectivity report is going to show you the connection status of all your Active Sync devices. And that's not all. It even shows you any errors that may occur when users attempt to contact their mailboxes from their mobiles. So the report has been generated, and as you can see, it shows you the name of the server, the performance counter name, the scenario, what test was performed, the result of checking connection. So if it succeeded, the error column is just going to give a dash. It's going to be empty because no error happened. The test was a success. Checking connection was a success. If it had failed, an error message is displayed here, but we don't have that right now. It also shows me the latency in seconds, and it shows me the time at which the connection was checked using this report. And similar to this, for Outlook Web App or Outlook Web Access, we also have a report called the OWA Connectivity Report. And this report is going to show you the connection status of OWA's virtual directories on any client access server. And if you were keeping track of the time or anything, it just took me a second to click on the report, and this information is generated. Now compare that with all the PowerShell scripts that you have to run in order to get information such as this. Seems daunting, right? So that's why we believe that Exchange Reporter Plus helps you out. It reduces the time and complexity associated with finding out basic information. So coming back to OWA connectivity, it shows you the name of the server, the performance counter name, the URL type, whether it's internal or external. It shows you the result of checking connection. If the result was a failure, it includes an error message. It shows the latency in seconds and the time at which this connection test took place when the connection status was checked using Exchange Reporter Plus. And then for the protocols, you can check the connectivity of the protocols too. As you can see, we have two reports available called the POP connectivity report and the IMAP connectivity report. So you can check the connection status of both POP3 and IMAP4 for any client access server. So let's look at IMAP connectivity, Internet Message Access Protocol. So it's just going to check the IMAP4 performance for any CAS. It shows me the name of the server. It shows me the name of the performance counter. It shows me the result of checking connection. And as you can see here, checking connection was a failure. It shows me the error message. Here it is the fact that MS Exchange IMAP4 was not running and any other error message. So why the connection failed is listed out here under the error column. It also shows me the latency in seconds and the time at which this took place. I'm sure you get the picture when it comes to checking connectivity using Exchange Reporter Plus. So let me quickly point to other connectivity monitoring reports that we have available so that you get an idea about what we have. So there are other reports available such as ECP connectivity, which helps you check the control panel connection status for all virtual directories on a client access server. And then there's the web service connectivity report, which tests the client's connection to Exchange Web Services virtual directories, and so on. So there are other reports that we've already looked at, such as your Active Sync and OWA connectivity and POP connectivity and so on. So this was the first task for today. Let's move on to the next task. which is about getting detailed information on email queues and mail flow. So once again, two tasks. So these two tasks, monitoring email queue and monitoring mail flow. Let me quickly, as always, list out use cases for you here. So the first half of the task, monitoring email queues. Let me give you a scenario, and I'm sure that will help you understand why exactly people need this in a real organization. So depending on the size of your organization, delivering say tens or hundreds of emails in a minute should be no big deal for your Exchange server. But sometimes organizations have bulk email campaigns going on, and during a bulk email campaign, you will be sending around 50,000 email messages to different mailboxes and at the same time. So I'm sure you understand why this would be difficult, because there could be a number of messages that could land in each of the email queues that you have available. So there could be a number of messages present in the submission queue, some in the poison queue, some in the unreachable queue, and you need to monitor email queues to see where exactly the emails went, in which queues they are present. So Exchange Reporter Plus helps you do that. Let me show you the report which helps you doing that quickly. So I'm switching to the product screen, and the category that we're looking for is the email monitoring reports category. So click on email monitoring reports, and the lone report that's available here is what we are looking for, email queue health. So let's click on it. So this report is going to help you in monitoring all the email queues in your organization. It shows you the name of the email queue, the message count, which shows you the number of messages that are present in that particular email queue. It shows you the status of the email queue, the delivery type, the next hop domain, and the time at which this happened. So take a good look at this report. And by looking at this report, if you see that there are a large number of messages available in any particular queue, you will know that users are sending the messages, but it is taking a long time for these messages to be received by the recipients. This way, you can use this report in order to monitor your email queues and ensure that no problems exist that prevent the delivery of messages. You can analyze email statistics, particularly when messages are directed into email queues by an SMTP mail server. You get quick insight into the health of your mail queue, and I don't have to tell you how easy this is going to make things for you. So that was the first half of this task. Monitoring email queues, monitoring your poison, submission, and unreachable queues using Exchange Reporter Plus is a very simple task. It takes less than a minute to monitor this, to find out the number of messages that are present in each email queue, to find out the next hop domain, the delivery time, and so on. So finding all of this information is going to be extremely easy. And speaking of extremely easy things, let's look at the second half of this task, monitoring mail flow. So being very vigilant about your mail flow is extremely important. You need to know that your mail flow is smooth. You need to know that no email delays will happen in your organization. So you need to figure out delays before they begin affecting your end users, correct? Because you don't want your end users to be stuck and have problems just because we weren't that vigilant about mail flow. So monitoring email flow is very important. And how is this done? This is done by checking that the mailbox server can successfully send itself an email. And let me tell you an easy way you can do this through. You can use Exchange Reporter Plus. You can use the mail flow health report of Exchange Reporter Plus in particular in order to monitor mail flow. So let me quickly show you the report. It's present under the server monitoring reports category, and the name of the report is mail flow health. I'm pointing to it, and now I'm clicking on it. So this report is going to help you out in monitoring the mail flow, the health of mail flow in your organization for the emails that are exchanged in your organization. And as always, this is checked by seeing if the mailbox server can successfully send itself an email. So this report lists out the name of the server. It shows you the result, as I mentioned, whether it can send itself an email. So mail flow result is displayed here. It shows the message latency and it shows the time at which this data was generated. So that's how the mail flow help report helps out. And once again, now that you've seen this report, think of this. Would you rather type in the command like test-mail flow, or do you just want to click on the report and get the required information? I'm sure I know what your answer is. With just a mouse click, you can confirm that emails can move between servers. With just a click, you can confirm that mail flow is proper in your organization. You can confirm that no email delays are going to take place in your organization. And that, I believe, is a huge plus point of Exchange Reporter Plus. So that these are the two tasks that we looked at just now. We saw how you can monitor email queues in your organization, and we saw how you can monitor the mail flow. Let's move on to the next task for the day. So the next task is something that we will finish in maybe 2 minutes. It's going to be a very quick task. I'm going to quickly go through it. It's about storage monitoring. And why is this why is Exchange Reporter Plus helping you out here? So let's see. There are some difficult questions that we need to face right now. How do you usually check storage size on the Exchange server? And how do you ensure that your usage trends are in line with the default storage capacity? So if your answer to these questions was PowerShell, I'm sorry, mate, but you need to take a look at Exchange Reporter Plus. We actually have 5 reports available which help you monitor the storage components in your organization. So with our reports, you can monitor mailbox size, which is important. You can monitor your mailbox database size and public folder database size, server volume, and drive volume. So these are all the things that you can monitor using Exchange Reporter Plus. And I'm going to switch to the product screen in order to show you how exactly you can do that. So let me click on storage monitoring reports. That's the category that we're looking for. And these are the 5 reports that I was talking about. The very first report, mailbox size, is going to help you track mailbox size. And this was something that was discussed in the very first workshop of this workshop series. For the sake of our new attendees, let me quickly mention this. So tracking mailbox size is important, and if the storage limits are reached, you don't want the important people in your organization. You don't want the big wigs to miss out on an important email just because their storage limits were reached. So as an administrator, we need to be on our toes at all times, and we need to make sure that we get sufficient warning. We get warning sufficiently in advance about mailboxes reaching their storage limits. And in order to do that, you can take a look at the mailbox size report, and you can also set up an alert. As I discussed earlier, you have the alerts configuration present here in the left pane. So you just need to click on alerts, set up an alert, and you need to specify the storage limits, and that's it. So you can get an alert when the send and prohibit send at quota is received, or when the prohibit send and receive at quota is reached, or so on. So based on the storage limits, you can immediately get an alert using Exchange Reporter Plus, and we actually went through this in the first workshop. And I'm sure you're able to understand how this would work out. And if you need to know more about it, you can always take a look at our video recordings. They are available on YouTube if you did not attend the very first workshop of this workshop series. So mailbox size, that's one thing that Exchange Reporter Plus helps you out with. And then 2 common reports on database size. So when you wish to monitor the mailbox database size or the public folder database size, you've come to the right place. Let me just click on one of these reports, and I clicked on public folder database size. So yeah, it's going to give you the picture about how exactly the database size reports of Exchange Reporter Plus work out. So it shows you the name of the database, it shows you the size of the database, and it shows you the time at which this information was obtained. So this is very simple information. It's just 3 columns, And usually we struggle using PowerShell in order to get this simple information. Exchange Reporter Plus lists it out for you in an easy to understand format. And yeah, that's how it's helpful. And then capacity planning. So you need to keep an eye on your Exchange servers, see the server volume, and that's where the server volume report of Exchange Reporter Plus helps you out. Capacity planning, it's very important. And let's see what exactly this report is about. It shows you the name of the server, it shows you the total volume size, and it shows you the free size, the amount of available free storage, free size in your Exchange servers. So that's how you can track server volume using Exchange Reporter Plus. You can keep an eye on the servers and you know how much the free size is, and future capacity can be planned easily using this. And the final report is called the drive volume report, which is obviously going to give you information about the drive volume. It shows you the name of the server, it shows you which drive it is, it shows you the total volume size and the free size. So as you can see, all these reports, all 5 of these reports are going to help you out. They're going to help you in ensuring space management. The health of your Exchange server can also be ensured without all the stress that usually accompanies this. So if you want capacity planning, you don't have to stress out over PowerShell. You just need to click on the server volume report and it's going to be very helpful for you. So basic information, all the information that you need in order to monitor the storage components of your organization are going to be listed out in a clear-cut format in Exchange Reporter Plus, in the reports of Exchange Reporter Plus. So that's the third task for the day. Let's move on to the next task. And what is the next task? It's about databases and database availability groups. So the first half of this task is obviously about DAGs. Yeah, this is how this task is going to play out. Why do you need to monitor database availability groups? That's the most important question here. So DAGs are sets of components that play a very important role in database recovery. So in case of database failure, the efficiency of any server's recovery mechanism is dependent on DAG. It's dependent on DAG operations. So you need that to ensure that a server's recovery mechanism is efficient. And because of this, it is highly necessary to monitor your database availability groups. And for this reason, Exchange Reporter Plus has 2 reports. And let me switch to the product screen. These reports are available under the DAG monitoring reports category. And what are the 2 reports? They are replication health and database copy status. So let's click on replication health. So this is what replication health is going to do. It determines the status of every aspect of replication. So once it's determined the status of every aspect of replication, the health of replication is given here in this report in an easy to understand format. So it shows you the name of the server, it shows you the check name, that is the commandlet tests that were performed. It shows you the result, whether it passed, failed, or whether there's a warning. It shows you an error message in case there's a warning or if the commandlet test failed. And it shows you the time at which the test happened. So if you take, let's just randomly take one particular row. So here the commandlet test that was performed was the TCP listener. So this test had passed and the error message is not present because the test passed. If you take the task's RPC listener, which is going to verify that the RPC server is running, the remote procedure call server is running, and that it can be reached on your DAG member. So once this test is run, it has passed, no error message is displayed. Quorum group failed, and an error message is displayed that the quorum resource cluster group was not online. So you can take a look at the error message and you will know how exactly to troubleshoot. So another report that we are going to look at is the database copy status report. And what is this report going to do? It shows you the copy status. of each database in various locations within the Exchange environment. It shows you the name of the database, it shows you the copy name and the copy status, the length of the copy and replay queues, the time at which this took place, if there is an error, whether an active copy is present, and whether a mailbox, the name of the mailbox server, the name of the active copy, and it gives you information about whether the copy and replay queues are increasing. If they're increasing, it'll say true right here, and if they're not, it'll say false. So that's how this works out. So we saw two reports that help you monitor DAGs. You can monitor replication health, and you can view the status of your database copies, whether active copies are present, information about your copy queue and replay queues. All of this can be obtained using Exchange Reporter Plus. The second half of this task was about database backups. And obviously, as admins, you would know the pain of monitoring all the types of backups that have happened to databases over a period of time. Because you need to keep an eye on all the different kinds of backups, such as your incremental backup, full backup, copy backup, and so on. And yeah, so you need to know the number of days since the last backup was performed. So usually this is difficult using the native tools, and Exchange Reporter Plus just has a single report. And with this report, you are going to get all the information that you need about database backups. So this report, with its complete information, can be found under the Database Monitoring Reports category. The name of the report is very straightforward as always. So it's the Database Backup Report, and I've clicked on it right now. And this report is going to give me comprehensive information about all the different kinds of backups that happened in this test setup, in this workshop setup. So it shows me the name of the database. It shows me whether backup is in progress. It shows me the last full backup and the number of days since the last full backup. As you can see, there are 4 different kinds of backups here for this particular report. So about full backup, incremental backup, copy backup, and differential backup. So you can get information about all of these. You can see when the last backup happened, and you can see the number of days since the last backup happened. So all this information is listed out here within the columns of these reports. So you just need to take a look at it. You get a detailed list of information regarding all backups of your Exchange database, regardless of your backup application. So that's where this report's importance lies in. So you can see the different kinds of backups. You can see whether the backups are in progress. You can see when the backup happened and the number of days since the last backup. So that's this task. So we saw how you can monitor the database availability groups, and we saw how you can monitor your different database backups. And we just have one more task left for the day. Let's move on to that task. It's about performance monitoring. We are going to see how you can monitor CPU and memory utilization using Exchange Reporter Plus. So one of the important tricks of the trade that we need to know is performance monitoring. So performance monitoring is going to help us generate a whole bunch of data on the Exchange server. And with all this data, you can make the desired changes to your servers in order to ensure better performance and a better experience for your end users. Sounds good, right? But there is a catch. And the catch is that it's not that easy. Performance monitoring is not that easy. You want a lot of information, you need to do a lot of work. When you need complete information about the server CPU usage or memory usage in your organization without spending a large amount of time, you should use the reports of Exchange Reporter Plus. We have 2 reports available called the CPU Utilization Report and the Memory Utilization Report. And these 2 reports are going to help you out. So end users, usually when you have performance issues, end users it's going to be reflected in your end users. So they are going to face problems such as slow logons, sluggish logons. They are going to have email flow issues. and ultimately it's going to affect your organization. Your customer service team or your technical support team is going to receive so many emails and so many calls about this. People are going to contact you and go, hey, what are you guys doing? We have sluggish logons. Why is it taking me so much time for the simple act of logging on to my mailbox? And this simple act, if you dig in, would be related in some twisted way to CPU monitoring. Your CPU utilization could be off the charts. CPU usage could be way more than the threshold, the desired threshold, and that's the problem. So in order to solve this, you can use two reports of Exchange Reporter Plus, and these reports are present under the Server Monitoring Reports category. So let's scroll down and you can see the two reports, the CPU utilization and memory utilization. So let's first take a look at CPU utilization. So this report is going to help you monitor the CPU usage in your organization. It shows you the time at which this test happened, at which the performance of your CPU was monitored. It shows you the name of the server. It shows you the utilization in percentage, and it also lists out the number of processes, threads, and the number of handles. So that's why CPU utilization helps out. So if someone calls you about slow logons, you can go back and check your CPU utilization, and if there are any problems, you can go and rectify it. The other report is the memory utilization report, and if you have any email flow issues, you can take a look at the memory utilization report. You can see the percentage of memory used and how much memory is available. As you can see, it's listed out here. It shows you the memory usage in percentage, it shows you the available memory, and it shows you the used memory. So all this information is listed out in an easy to understand format. And one more thing that you can do here is this. So you don't just have to take a look at this report, you can also set up alerts. So you obviously have a threshold up to which it's acceptable, up to which the CPU usage or memory usage is an acceptable limit. So you can set up alerts using this button. So you can set up alerts so that you get real-time notifications when this threshold is exceeded. So I've clicked on the alerts button, and as before in a previous task, click on the new alert profile and you can set up an alert. So the name of the alert, let's do this for CPU utilization. So let's call it the CPU usage exceeded or something along those lines. And I'll copy paste that as the description too, as always. Select the report for which you want the alert to be generated, which in our case is CPU utilization. So the category is server monitoring. Name of the report is CPU utilization report. And there, I've clicked on it, click OK, and the report is selected. Select the severity, critical trouble or attention is critical because I don't want my end users to be complaining about slow logons. So the severity of the alert is critical, and I can set the threshold here. So I'm just going to enter in a random number, let's say 75%. So every time the threshold exceeds 75%, I'm going to get an alert which tells me, hey, your CPU usage has exceeded 75%, and are you sure that's how you want it? So that's what this alert is going to say. Let me click create, and that's it. So say bye-bye to your end users facing problems such as slow logons or email flow issues. You've set an alert. If the threshold is exceeded, you are going to receive an alert message. And that's it. And that's it for today's workshop too. So let's have a quick recap about what exactly we saw in today's workshop. We saw how you can monitor your Exchange services to see if your services are running or not running. We saw how you can monitor client connectivity health. So you can monitor your active sync connectivity, OWA connectivity, protocols such as IMAP4 connectivity, POP3 connectivity, web services connectivity, and so on. The list is endless. So you can check the connection status to your client access servers for a number of different components, protocols, and so on. We saw how you can monitor your mail flow health and how you can monitor your email queues. We saw how you can monitor storage components such as your mailbox and public folder databases, server volume, drive volume, and so on. We saw how you can list complete information about your database availability groups and how you can monitor your database backups irrespective of the backup application that was used. Finally, we saw how performance monitoring is simplified using Exchange Reporter Plus, some aspects of performance monitoring, wherein you can monitor your server memory, your server utilization, and CPU utilization. You can do all of this using Exchange Reporter Plus. So that was just a quick recap. And for those of you who missed the first few minutes of the workshop, if you joined a little late to today's session, a recording will soon be up on YouTube. A recording of this session will be up on Manage Engine AD Solutions YouTube channel soon. So you can check it out and yeah, you can side by side practice with the product and just figure out how exactly Exchange Reporter Plus works. So the next workshop, which will be on, I have the date on the screen here. So the next workshop will be on the 10th of May. It's also a Wednesday, same time as today, 10:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. for India and 10:30 a.m. for the Europe region. So the next workshop, next Wednesday, is going to be all about Exchange reporting on 3 specific things. We are going to report on Outlook Web Access, we are going to report on Active Sync, and we are also going to report on email traffic. So the next workshop is particularly important because when I say email traffic, Exchange Reporter Plus helps you monitor email traffic in real time. So you can view information for today too using the reports that we have available in Exchange Reporter Plus. So you can identify the top email users, you can determine the number of delivered and undelivered emails, and finally, the most important report of all, you can check the email response time. So if you are a customer facing organization, the next workshop is very important for you. You will learn how you can identify inactive active sync devices, and I specifically mentioned customer facing company because the next workshop is going to teach you how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus in order to find out the email response time. How long did the customer service team of your organization take to respond to email messages? This is something that you can discover easily using Exchange Reporter Plus, and that's something we are going to look at next Wednesday. So mark your calendars. I can't wait to see you next Wednesday. It's a fresh load of exciting topics, so don't forget to tune in next Wednesday. So that's it for today's session, and you will soon be receiving a feedback form, and please fill in the form for us, because if you can tell me how exactly Manage Engine can improve these workshops for more attendees such as yourselves, it would be very helpful for us, because we read all of your feedback forms and we really take it to heart. So if you have any suggestions on how we can improve these workshops for you, how we can improve this experience for you, it would be very helpful. So please do give us any feedback or suggestions that you have. And thank you very much for attending today's workshop. You've been a great audience today. So thank you, and see you guys again next week. And have a great day today.